It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself. To all my helper bees out there, you know who you are. Those that are always helping everyone else and neglecting yourself. Yes, boo, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. Here to let you know God has not forgotten about you. I've been sent on divine assignment. It's time for Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. That means 30 minutes for your mind, your body, spirit, and emotions. And don't act like you don't have time. You have time for everyone and everything else. Sit back and relax because if you're here, that means this show is for you or it's for someone you know. But most likely, it's for both of y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. Hey family, hey family, hey family. It is your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? You know, boo, for divine intervention, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl's going to give you the good information, the things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. And family, it's Monday, 1 o'clock. And where we at, boo? We on the radio, yes. Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free is on the radio. We are back. We are live today. It is October the 27th, 2025. And we are here and live this week. I missed y'all last week. I did. I missed y'all. How y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing today? Yeah, I'm well. I'm well too. I'm good. I have had the most amazing week, y'all. I have to tell y'all, my baby girl, Marley. So I have two beautiful girls. One is, my 30-year-old is LaShondra Sean. She is a chef in San Antonio. She works at the Alamo. And my baby girl, Marley, is a junior at Cumberland High School. And she, I'm going to try to say this without crying, y'all. She got her first lead role in the school play. The name of the play was Oedipus and Antigone. And she played Antigone. Y'all, when I say, and mamas can be biased, but I'm telling you, when I say that baby transformed, and it was a very dramatic role, and she played like three different roles in there, but her main role was Antigone, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. And I was in church yesterday, right? And I'm thinking about, you think about your babies, right? You think about just the people that you've seen grow from tiny to, Marley was tiny. She was 5 pounds, 11 ounces. She fit, right in the palm of your hand. Both my girls were small like that. It fit right in the palm of your hand. And so, but my oldest, she would eat anything, she was very just out there, very, very, just modeling and doing all the things and boom, 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 boom. Molly is my quiet little introvert. She's a little introvert, extrovert. She's a little, right. And she wouldn't eat. Molly wouldn't eat when she was younger. She was just the tiniest thing. Didn't grow for 2 years. Wasn't on the growth chart. This is my dyslexic baby. This is my ADD baby that just the baby that I just I cannot tell it all. I cannot tell it all. The one that you just worrying and just worrying is she gonna be okay? And Marley's dyslexic teacher, when we went to Cumberland, this is why I love Cumberland Academy. When we went, Marley was 5 when we moved here, and she got in the following spring, in spring of second grade, in the fall of second grade. And this is when we were trying to figure out if she was dyslexic or not. And we went to Cumberland, and they were like, we're going to test her. I mean, we have a class. I told them I was going to test her, but nevertheless, they said, we have a class for that. We have a program for that. If she needs extra help, we have, a program for that. If she just, the teacher said, if she just needs help in reading, I'll help her with that in class. We'll set some time apart. I mean, it was everything. And so Marley's dyslexia teacher was at Miss Simmons, was at the play. And Miss Simmons sent me a message yesterday, and she said, from our very first meeting, she said, I sat in there and I remembered you sitting in the meeting crying because you were so worried about Marley. And she said, I promised you that I would take care of her. And I just, oh my goodness, I went back to that moment, and I can remember, if you have a child that, you always have one that's okay, and then you have the other that's, I don't know, was just a little more afraid, right? And so Marley was my baby. I was just a little more afraid all the time. She was so tiny, and she wouldn't eat. And then the school stuff happened, and then the dyslexia. And this girl is smart. I mean, she's always been smart. So it's not a cognitive thing. And so, but to see that girl on that stage, and Miss Simmons sent me that message, and it took me back. I was just so emotional in church yesterday. I was at that altar just thanking God, right? You ever just have a flashback on where your children were, maybe where you were, right? Just a short time ago, you might have been worried about some things, and then to just watch God just bring it all around in full circle, the strength that it took for that baby to be on that stage doing what she did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 shows. Oh my goodness. Can you tell her mama's proud? Because I can't even say that I'm proud. I feel like that'd be an understatement. Her mama is proud, and I'm just so grateful to the cast. The cast, these children were amazing. Everyone that said they were like, it didn't even seem like we were watching children. They look like little Broadway stars, and they are stars in their own right. They all did an amazing job. And to the theater department, Miss McGee and Mr. Delk, amazing. The stage, the lighting, the music, the sound. Miss McGee rewrote the adaptation of Oedipus and Antigone, and made it gave it a modern take. And man, I mean, and then allowed the kids to come in and, help, and they kind of tweaked it and made it their own. And the teamwork, it was amazing. It was amazing. So just want to give a shout out. Listen, they don't pay me for this, but I'm telling you right now, if your child is artsy like mine, they have art, theater, music, dance, and that's why I wanted Marley to go there, because she was always very artsy. And so I know Tyler's full of, babies that are, very sports driven, but for the other children that are not, and they do have a few sports over there as well. But it is just it's an amazing school. And so do yourself, if you're hearing this, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know who it's for. Maybe your grandbaby, your baby, I don't know. But if you know of a child that needs a great school that's going to pay attention to detail, they got so much flack last year with the money and the funding. It does not take away, because of administrative things are going on. It doesn't take away from how great that school is, and that school is great. And so again, your girl is grateful. Grateful, grateful, grateful. Okay. I just can't tell it all. That's how I feel in my spirit. I just can't tell it all. I'm grateful, y'all. I'm grateful. So, okay. Y'all know we've been on our self love journey. We are on our self love journey. We have been on, and we're going to be on this for the rest of the year. Now, Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free, that is my brand. My podcast is on YouTube, Reflections CMGF, and then on my Facebook page. So every June and every October, I dedicate to the men, and I try to cover men's topics or put something positive out there or message to men specifically, whether it's about your mind, your body, your spirit, or your emotions. Just for the month, and be very intentional about that. So I have done that on my Facebook page. If you just want to scroll over there, it is under Michelle Allen Franklin. Follow your girl while you're there. Send me a friend request. I'll accept your friend request. Send me a friend request. But for the month of October, I focus on the men. Why? Because my programs generally focus on women 28 and older. And when I say my programs, I have a program, Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free, that helps this self mastery that we're doing. I don't talk about it that often, mainly not because I'm not proud of it or because it's not an effective program, just because that's not just what I'm used to doing. I'm used to just doing the work, right? But I'm trying to get more intentional about letting people know what things I offer. And I do have a 7-day program. I have just for you to, get a touch, see what it is. Is it something? That program is free. It's called Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free, the 7-day experience. What I do with that is I come on, we have a week where we talk, and I have topics that are uncomfortable. I specialize in having the uncomfortable but necessary elephant in the room conversations that you need to have with yourself, right? It is self mastery is what I help you with. And so October the 23rd is 2 years that I have been, excuse me. Yeah, October the 23rd was 2 years that I have been doing this on my own. Prior to that, I was utilizing my mentors and other people in different groups and doing a version of reflections. I prayed, I fasted, I did a 42-day fast, and God gave me, the strength and the courage to step out on my own and say, I really didn't give you this program to to be with everyone else. I gave it to you for you because things were kind of falling apart. And I thought, Lord, do I stop doing it? And he said, no, because I didn't give it to them. I gave it to you. And so that's for somebody out there today. I don't know who needed that, but somebody out there struggling with something God has given you, and you think that you have to connect with somebody else. You have to do it. And sometimes you do, but a lot of times you don't. It is really just fear that is holding you back. And so understand and know that if he gave it to you, honey, yeah, he trusting you with it, then go ahead and do that thing. And so I celebrated 2 years from that, of having the 7-day experience, and then running a 30-day program. And then I branched out into a 12-week program, because evidence shows that if you're going to make any kind of change in your life, consistent 30 days is good, but then to do it for 90 days, if you really want something to actually change and stick, and then to, to just apply it on a daily basis. And so I'm going to be offering that up again. I'll keep you guys posted on some dates, because the 30-day and the 12-week program is going to be available and rebooting again in 2026. So I just want to tell you guys about that. Now, today on our self-love journey, we are going to talk about the men. I said it's Men's Month. This is the last day of Men's Month, the last Monday of Men's Month. So I wanted to talk about the top 5 health concerns for men. The top 5 health concerns for men. We're going to talk about the causes. We're going to talk about the symptoms, and we're going to talk about some treatments. But these are the top 5 health concerns for men. Number 1 across the board is heart disease, cardiovascular disease. Heart disease is the number one cause of death in men worldwide. It's often linked to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, poor diet, smoking, chronic stress, and lack of exercise. There's a decline in testosterone, and then just the unexpressed emotions. We've been talking about this all year, right? The effect that your emotions play in your body. So the unexpressed emotions that causes stress in your body, that's anger, that's grief, that's anxiety, right? There's a myth out there that we can't, y'all men, y'all can't be, y'all are weak if you show any kind of emotion. The devil is a liar, and he's killing you slowly if you continue to believe and practice that. You increase inflammation in your arteries, holding the things in, quote unquote, trying to be quote unquote strong. I'll say it and I'll say it till the Lord takes me off this side of heaven, and even then still it'll be in videos on YouTube. It takes way more strength to say that something is wrong than it does to hide it. Way more strength. Here are some symptoms. You have chest pain, maybe some pressure, especially if you're walking or, trying to do some kind of activity. You might have some shortness of breath. You may have some fatigue, just feeling tired and just can't get enough rest. Or you may have some spells of dizziness. You may have some pain in your jaw, your neck, your shoulder, or your arms. You may have some swelling in your legs. That is a sign of heart failure. We talked the other week about your blood pressure and what it does, right? Your heart is pumping the blood throughout your body down to your toes, up to your brain. That's the amount of pressure, that's your blood pressure. So if your heart is not able to pump and get that blood back up, that blood pools down in your legs. So that is a sign of heart failure. Treatment for cardiovascular disease and prevention is just a lifestyle change, right? Before the stroke, before the heart attack, regular exercise, 30 minutes a day. And if you can do daily, at least 3 to 5 times a week will make a significant difference. A diet high in fruits, veggies, lean protein, and low sodium. If you can go no salt, that would be the most ideal thing to do. But if you have to have it, low sodium. The medical restraints is the blood pressure and your cholesterol control. Sometimes you have to be put on medication, right? If you're in a place where you're overweight, you're in a place where your blood pressure's been running up high, does it mean you have to stay on the medication forever? No, it doesn't. If you start exercising and getting yourself together, I promise you it doesn't even take long for your things to come back into order, right? Emotional health, so stress reduction through prayer, journaling, therapy, because chronic stress raises your blood pressure and inflammation. The scripture that I have tied to this is Proverbs 14:30. A peaceful heart leads to a healthy body. Number 2 is prostate cancer. Prostate cancer grows naturally. We talked about this the other week. It grows naturally. Your prostate gland grows naturally as you get older, right? But the hormone imbalance, the genetics, and your diet, and high in red meat. So if you're eating out all the time, burgers, steaks, right? Eating out all the time, or dairy can increase your risk of cancer. Black men, let me say it again for the people in the black men have twice the risk of developing and dying from prostate cancer due to genetic and healthcare access disparities. What does that mean? We're in these country, rural areas. We may not have transportation. We may not take the time. You men are working, being the providers. You're not taking care of yourself. Grandpa, dad had it, but we're not even talking about that, right? If you have a family history, a genetic disposition, then you need disposition, excuse me, you need to be seen sooner, right? We talked about that the other week. Here are some common symptoms: trouble urinating, weak urine flow, blood in your urine or your semen, pain in your lower back, hips or pelvis, frequent nighttime urination. All right. Screening. We talked about the PSA blood test and prostate exam. There is different types of PSA exams. My good friend Onissa Mitchell Fisher, she is a nurse practitioner. She talked about the different PSA blood tests. So that would be something you would talk to your doctor about. It's not just the regular PSA. So treatment is surgery, radiation, sometimes hormone therapy, and then just monitoring depending on the stage. But prevention, increasing those green leafy vegetables. So we're talking broccoli, cabbage, tomatoes are good, green tea, and reducing processed meats. That is lunch meat, hot dogs, right? Processed meats. Emotional note, that the bottling up of the emotions like shame or suppressed sexual trauma. This is huge, guys. Suppressed sexual trauma. I know that you might be embarrassed about it. It does not mean that you are not a man. It does not mean you any less, right? Any less of a person of who. It doesn't make you any less of a person that you are to talk to someone about some things that have happened in your childhood. That release alone could save your life. So the suppressed sexual trauma can also manifest in the prostate area energetically because there's a root chakra there, right? I don't have enough time to go into that, but understanding that we again are energetic beings having a human experience. And so that energy from that trauma trapped in your body is laying dormant somewhere. So just want you to think about it like that. Number 3 is depression and suicide. This is huge, especially for Christian men, especially for pastors. Men often suffer in silence. Y'all are taught to tough it out. Y'all are taught be strong. Y'all are taught crying is weak. Suppressed emotions, untreated trauma, PTSD, and burnout, right? All lead. Depression in men often looks like anger. That's why a lot of our boys are in the prison system. Unprocessed anger, irritability, where somebody's just snappy all the time. Risk taking, just don't even care. They're acting like they don't care about anything anymore. It's just self-sabotaging type of behavior. And then emotional withdrawal. And it's not always sadness. And that's the part that it looks funny. It's not always, they don't necessarily have to be sad, but they are just emotionally withdrawn. Persistent, these are some symptoms: persistent fatigue, loss of motivation, trouble concentrating or sleeping, anger outbursts, irritability, loss of interest in things once enjoyed, thoughts of hopelessness or suicide. Treatment and prevention is therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, we've talked about this before. It's a different type of therapy. All therapists are not created equal. Say it again, all therapists are not created equal. And so I have some men that come to me and they say, I had therapy, it doesn't work. You did not have the right therapist. It's just like going to the doctor. Sometimes you get a good one and sometimes you don't. And it is okay to switch. That doesn't mean there's not great doctors out there. Doesn't mean there's not great therapists out there. And then if you've had certain things happen, if you have unprocessed trauma, right? If you have sexual abuse, you need someone that specializes in that. Not just, I got a certificate in therapy and they're doing some general therapy. No, you need someone that that focuses on trauma. You need someone that focuses on, right, family dispute or childhood, whatever you need, right? Maybe some faith-based counseling, trauma therapy, but cognitive behavioral therapy and EDMR are two of the most effective when it comes to trauma therapy or unprocessed trauma. Some other treatments are exercise, right? That is a natural way, again, to release those natural happy endorphins. They release them. Sunlight exposure. A lot of us, because we are in Texas and it's hot, right? We don't want to be outside. We don't want to be outside. But sunlight, our vitamin D levels are low. And so sunlight helps to elevate your vitamin D levels. That helps your mood. It really does make a difference connecting to nature, connecting to community, connecting to faith based groups, right? To get your spiritual walk in order. Sometimes you may need an antidepressant or a mood stabilizer. That is when you've been clinically diagnosed, especially if you're having suicidal thoughts. Sometimes there is an imbalance, right? I literally just left a testing center. I was tested for ADHD. I'm talking about it during my self-love journey. I'm going to actually take the episode today with my test results. But 3 years ago, when I initially went for ADHD testing, they couldn't even test me for the ADHD because my trauma, the depression, the anxiety, I was having suicidal thoughts at that period of time. That was so high and it took precedent. So at that period of point of time, I needed some medication, right? A lot of people are like, oh, no, 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 no. But those hormones and those levels get low. You think about a well running dry. Those you having those thoughts, sometimes you are so empty that you do need some help to try to get full again until your cup can start running over by itself. And that is okay, church folk. That is okay. All right. The scripture for that is number 3 is the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That is Psalms 34:18. These last two, number 4 is diabetes. This is the five most common concerns. The top 5 health concerns for men. The top 5 health concerns for men. I'm like, let me get my words right. So number 4 is diabetes. Diabetes and type 2 diabetes is diabetes that is developed over time, right? It means insulin resistant, developed in your body where you can't properly process the sugar that you're eating. And it's often from poor dieting. That's often from obesity. That is from chronic stress. Over time, this leads to nerve damage, kidney damage, and heart damage. The ripple effect of diabetes and not having it under control is very detrimental to your health. It is not, oh, let me just take these pills. Oh, let me just take some insulin. Oh, let me just. You are affecting your nerves. That's why your feet and hands are tingling and all of the things. You're affecting your kidneys. You're affecting your heart, right? And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. Women, this is the same for us, right? I told y'all this self-love journey took me to blood work. I am newly diagnosed as a diabetic. A1C was 7.4. Not good. So when I say this self-love journey is real, it's necessary. It does not matter how old you are. I'm 48 years old, way too young for this, right? And if you're older, you're still on this side of heaven. It's still relevant to you as well. And so you're way too young for it. So increased thirst, urination, blurry vision, fatigue or irritability, numbness of the hands and feet, your wounds healing slowly. Changing your diet, exercise, of course, medicine, controlling your stress. And then the last one is high blood pressure. And so we went very thoroughly over high blood pressure a couple weeks ago, so I'm not going to go into that. And your girl is running out of time. So be still and know that I am God is your scripture. So know that all of these things are within your control, family. Catch your girl on the podcast for more information. All right. This has been another divine intervention. Thank you for tuning in to Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free with your girl, Miss Michelle D.I. Every week, we will have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations as it relates to your mind, your body, your spirit, and emotions. You've suffered long enough. It's time to break free. So join me every Monday at 1 p.m. right here on KGLD Radio, where you can fill your spirit with gospel all day long. See you next week.